Hello and welcome to another episode of Tyler Talk, the only place to get the latest sporting news wherever you are. My name is Tyler Brown, and once again, KB joins me in the studio today. KB, hello again.
Hey people, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
As always. Right, so we've got so much news for you today. We've got whether or not Larry Fitzgerald will retire or not due to the weapons that the Cardinals have brought in. We've got way too early NFL predictions for next season. And then we go into our one football/soccer, wherever you're listening from, story. We're going to go into Manchester United as they have failed again to win a trophy in the FA Cup. And possibly, is this Ole Solskjaer's, what do we call it, final curtain call, or is he going to get another chance in the future years? And then we go into NBA with our two stories. One that was voted for you, and that is March Madness. So we're going to talk about what is the big surprise this year, with a lot of teams going out early, and obviously who is going to make it to the Elite Eight out of the Sweet 16. And then we're going to talk about our most in-depth conversation about all the injuries that have recently been taking over the NBA, and if it possibly is going to ruin the league a little bit or threaten the league in a way. But before we get into them, we need you to do a couple of things. We need you to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for all notifications on future videos. Also, we're on Instagram tonight, and we all know you will be, so don't try and lie to us. We need you to type in TYB_talk. That's right, TYB_talk, and give us a little follow. And also, if you fancy giving us a little booster in our follows, we've also put ours down below as well. Mine is TYBMTRUK, and obviously KB's is 17BXTR. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. So KB, as we all know, the Cardinals have done some business this year, like absolute ridiculousness. Like we're talking like possible Super Bowl contending, acquirements this season. Let's take a look at them real quick. So obviously we've got JJ Watt, big signing from Houston on the defensive line. AJ Green at wide receiver to add to their already amazing wide receiver core. And they've got themselves two offensive linemen in Rodney Hudson and Brian Winters. Got themselves a new kicker, and obviously they re-signed linebacker Marcus Golden. So what's your take on that off season? When you just look at the players that they've signed there.
I think I was saying it last week. The Cardinals they've been slowly building and building for the past few years since they drafted Kyler Murray, they bought in Cliff Kingsbury. So I feel like this is the season where a lot of people, including myself, are going to be looking at them like thinking, okay, I need some sort of production. I'm looking for a playoff run or something from this season.
No, 100%. You can't have players, can't bring in players like JJ Watt, AJ Green, and tag players like your outside linebacker Marcus Golden and not make a statement this year. It's impossible to do something like that. But our story today is obviously with these new weapons that have been acquired from the Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald has not exactly told us whether or not he's staying this year. So we're just going to give our take on whether or not he should stay or go. So before we do, let's just do what we always do. Let's go into his achievements and everything like that. So obviously he was drafted in 2004 out of Pittsburgh University as a number 3 pick in 2004. He's had a very impressive career. 263 games, 1,432 receptions, 17,492 yards, which equals roughly around 12.2 yards per reception, and 121 touchdowns. And all that has gotten him, again, some amazing honors. 11 Pro Bowls, 1 All Pro, 2-time receptions leader in 2005 and 16. He made the official team for the 100th anniversary and the 2010s decade team. He won Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2016, and when he was in college, he was the 2003 Heisman Trophy runner-up. Obviously, a lot of people will think, well, he's only a runner-up, but to be on that list of all the college players, such a huge achievement. So, like, KB, how would you describe Larry Fitzgerald's career?
I feel like the nickname Larry Legend just sums it up. Like, before, you don't need to make a case for it. You don't need like a long page of arguments. Just he's a Hall of Famer, like standard. Like he's been there, he's done it. I think the only thing he's not got is a Super Bowl ring, but literally everything else you could want from a professional football career, he's got.
No, 100%. Like, I was about to ask you, obviously, is he a guaranteed Hall of Famer? But obviously, the answer is yes. And obviously, going back to the fact you said about he's just missing a Super Bowl, like we've said, with this team right now, it goes into that debate of, should he retire or should he stay? I personally feel he should stay. He's obviously a player that he's not exactly looking like, he's not exactly getting old, and he's not like other players where like you think of Julian Edelman. Obviously, he's such a great receiver, but he gets injured all the time and stuff like that. Larry Fitzgerald doesn't really get injured a lot often. Like he's pretty much there every single game of the year. I think in his whole career, I saw something the other day when I was reading about it. He's only missed 4 games in his entire career.
That's ridiculous.
I think 2 of them because of a personal family issue. I think someone died or something about it. It's a personal family issue. I remember it being quite because I think that was like his first 2 games he missed. It was like, whoa, like it must be serious. And I think one was because he sprained his ankle, and they need him for the bigger game the next week. So save your best players, obviously. So it's that we're going back to his his stats. Obviously, 263 games. And he's only missed 4, so he's it's not much that he's missing compared to some of the other players we've dove into in the past. So let's just get into the question of should he stay, KB, or should he, as we put in the image there, should he join the retirement home of the NFL?
I think he has to stay. I think I would be surprised if anyone within the organization wants him gone. I think the only time you want that sort of player gone is if like he still thinks he's the guy. Like he still thinks I'm number 1 option. Ball should be coming to me. I need to get me. Like everything runs through me. I don't think it's still like that with the Cardinals. I think he accepts his role. He understands that we've got a young up and coming quarterback. We've got one of the best receivers in the league. Got weapons everywhere. So I think just having him in that room, especially on the playoff run that we hope they go on, will be vital. So maybe even not even just next year. Obviously, he's going on a year-by-year basis, but for now, I think he's just as valuable as he's ever been to that team. So I would keep it going if I was him.
No, obviously, like when you look at their their passing options, obviously you've got Chase Edmonds, who is for me he's such a great young running back who can develop himself into a great possibly Sunday. Obviously, I've sort of looked at it as like a starting lineup. You look at the X receiver on the left hand side is naturally going to be AJ Green. That's where he plays at mostly, and then Larry Fitzgerald will obviously he can play on the outside or in the slot. I think that's his natural position that he could work into. Because obviously DeAndre Hopkins is obviously going to be your strong side wide receiver on the right. It's no question. But then obviously it's the case of if he doesn't play, the Cardinals. It's not the Cardinals are losing out on much because they've got Christian Kirk, who obviously got drafted a few years ago, and he's obviously made a name for himself in that squad as well. He put up some impressive numbers. I think he's on what is he on 159 catches for nearly 2,000 yards already. That's almost a better receiving record than Larry Fitzgerald has got. But we're obviously saying I agree with you in the fact that he's going to stay in this team. But let's just go into the Cardinals a little bit. Like obviously we've talked about the acquirements that they've had this year and previous years. What do you think has gone on within the back room? Obviously we don't know. We're not GMs or anything like that. We don't know much about the business of the NFL other than what we see on TV. But what has made the Cardinals such a destined place to go to in these past few years?
I think the Cardinals have kind of watched what other teams have done and kind of followed the blueprint. So I think they've got a lot younger in terms of not even just on the pitch, in terms of like the head coaching and the the coaching like personnel. I feel like they've got a lot younger in that, so that helps. That helps in terms of the offense and the defense because they're trending towards where football is going more than what it has been. So following like I think when the Rams first had their like big surge a few years ago with McVay and his type of offense, I think when you look at the Chiefs and the type of offense that they run, I feel like when the Cardinals brought in Cliff Kingsbury, I think it was it Oklahoma? I think it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That sort of offense, high flying offense, a lot of play actions, a lot of cuts in and out up the field. So I feel like that's what's made it a very what's the word, appealing place for players to be, because it's more of where football is going and how it's played today, more than the traditional offenses and how it was in the past. So I do think a lot of players, when they see it, they're like, oh, I want to get involved in that. That's how we like to play football now.
No, 100%. And obviously, like, you know, I look at it obviously as the same as you, obviously, you know, the things they've done. But then obviously looking towards the draft that this year, you know, they've got a decent space, you know, to pick up, you know, obviously I wouldn't say they're missing too many things. But obviously with Patrick Peterson leaving at that cornerback position, I feel like the number 16 pick this year is a perfect opportunity for them to, you know, either wait for, you know, because cornerbacks aren't exactly, you know, the leading force in this year's draft. So I feel they could wait for someone like possibly Patrick Surtain the second if he doesn't get picked up, depending, you know, or a good decent rookie cornerback to fill that position and build his way up to a level that Patrick Peterson has established himself at Arizona, but obviously has obviously left to go to where's he going to now? Where did he go to now? I think I completely blanked. Minnesota he went to. I was thinking purple, but I thought the Ravens. But no, he went to Minnesota. But obviously, you know, you know, like I said, there's more for them to develop into a team, and the draft will only help them further. So next up, we're going to talk about our way too early NFL predictions. Normally, would do this after the draft, but I feel like because the draft is so close, I just feel like we need to get these predictions out of the way. And it's also be funny because the draft hasn't happened, we don't know where teams are going. It'd be nice to see if these actually come true even more.
Yeah.
And obviously,
I'm kind of reserving judgment on mine. They might change in about a week or so, but we'll stick to it for now.
100%. Like I mean, like depending on where players might go, I might change some of mine. I've been tossing and turning about mine for the past week since we spoke about it. But let's get into it. So this is what's going to come up next. Way too early NFL predictions. This is Tyler Brown with KB on Tyler Talk. Stay tuned for more. Yes, KB. So we are going to predict some really early predictions. I remember, you know, when I first messaged you, said, "Why don't we wait until the draft?" But obviously, I made the point saying that, you know, let's do it now, and then obviously our opinions can change because of the fact the draft hasn't happened. Because once the draft's happened and you make your predictions, that's it. You're sort of stuck in your predictions. You can't take that back. So I'll give us a bit of leeway in terms of how teams are going to look and stuff like that, and we're going to do it really early. So the categories that we've picked, we've gone for our Super Bowl teams this year and the Super Bowl winner, our MVP and Rookie of the Year, our Offensive and Defensive Player of the Year, our Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, and our Dark Horse team and player. We're going to do a Dark Horse Rookie, but that's just leaving it a bit too open for discussion. You know, like, I mean, I personally couldn't decide. I don't know about UK, but I just could not decide on a Dark Horse.
Even close to a decision.
Like, it's just there's so many people that, you know, that could get picked later on who I've not looked at. I was going to pick Sam Ellinger from Texas, but if he goes to a team that's already got a good quarterback, there's no point putting him as a dark horse. So Super Bowl teams and winners. I've gone for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to explain why. And like, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, for both me and KB's choices, why are the Chiefs not there? I'm going to explain my reason for it. I'm not impressed with the Chiefs free agency this year. I know they've got Kyle Long and they've got they've acquired quite a few linemen to protect Patrick Mahomes, but nothing has impressed me this year. They've had so many because they've had so much to do in terms of rearranging people's contracts, like Patrick Mahomes isn't attempting to do Tyreek Hill's, and the fact they've not really made a decision on Le'Veon Bell this year yet. It just seems that they're sort of stuck in a bit of a rut. Obviously, salary cap does come into that, into them decisions, but it's just when I look at Tampa Bay, they've run it back and run it back in the positions they need it. They've got Tom Brady back, they've got Gronk back, Shaquille Barrett's back, Chris Godwin's back, LaShawn McCoy is going to stay for another year. Leonard Fournette might stay, but if he goes, I've heard trades between James White and Leonard Fournette. James White's a great running back. I think I saw something the other day actually. He's not fumbled a single run ever in his NFL career. He's never fumbled the ball. I feel like for a running back who's played at that starting level for a few years, he's not fumbled the ball once. That's amazing. And obviously I've gone for the Buffalo Bills because they've done so much work this offseason. I feel like Josh Allen's all going to get better. They've got Stephon Diggs, who's clearly a wide receiving talent, and then they've added Emmanuel Sanders onto that as well. It's just, and then they've signed F.A. Obada, the British defensive player from the Carolina Panthers, and they've got Christian Wade, who will possibly make a good running back option this year as he grows into an NFL player. So I feel like it's a great one for me. But if I had to pick the winner, Tampa Bay is just too great of a force to compete with, and I think they will go for it. So KB, let's discuss your choices.
Okay. I feel like I need to defend mine because I feel like as soon as the image came up, a lot of people watching would have thought this guy is a madman. So, firstly, I'm the type of guy, I don't like just picking the favorites. I don't know. It's not boring, but I don't know. We've just been there in it. With the Bucks and the Chiefs, we've been there, we've done it. Do I think it's probably going to happen again? More than likely, but I don't personally, I don't want to pick them. So I've gone with the Cardinals because, as I said before, I think it's been building up for the past few years, like their project. And I think this is the first year where we need to see results. And personally, I do believe that if they get the ball rolling, they will be a very hard team to beat. Both, they'll be a very hard team to stop scoring, and they're going to be a hard team to score against. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals. And as you just summed it up for the Bills as well, like I feel they've made a lot of moves, and very similar to the Cardinals, it's been slowly building up for the past few years. And I feel like this year's the time for a decent playoff run. They've got a bit of experience now. They've got more experience. They've got more weapons. Like I feel like there's everything there for both of those teams to maybe not win the Super Bowl or maybe not like absolutely blow everyone out the water, but definitely to make some noise. So they were my two picks to kick the Super Bowl. In terms of the winner, again the same as you said, the Bills, because of everything that they've done so far and all the momentum that they're gonna have. I feel like the city of Buffalo is a city, isn't it? Buffalo. I feel like their fans are just gonna will the Bills to a win because the videos that I see of their fans, they are absolutely crazy, diving through tables, whether they're on fire, doesn't matter. So for all the Bills mafia out there, I'm going with the Bills. I want to see Josh Allen spike the Lombardi through a table. So I'm going with the Bills. I need the Bills.
See, and I feel like you've said you want to see Josh Allen spike the ball through a table because we've obviously seen Tom Brady launch the Super Bowl trophy from the ball. I knew where you're going with that.
That needs to be like the new trend for like Super Bowl. Do you remember when it was, I'm going to Disneyland? Okay, now it's what can you do with the trophy?
See, and then obviously going through even like a little bit further back when Gronkowski dented the Super Bowl with a baseball at Boston Red Sox game. I feel like
so we need I need Josh Allen spiking the Lombardi through a table in Buffalo.
Oh,
that's
God.
what I need to see next summer.
Is this really a trend we're going to start seeing now? We're going to see that every team's got to somehow either risk or damage this the Lombardi Trophy. I think it's. I'm gonna have to Google how much the Lombardi Trophy is worth, just because. Because if this is like really going to be a thing where people are just going to damage it, oh, well, I just went. It's only $10,000, but that's still a lot of money. But yeah, it's just like what we're gonna start seeing now. Like, oh, we don't. Well, I don't know actually. I don't know anymore now. One thing says 10,000, one thing says 50,000. Let's say 50,000 because I like to go more expensive on things. Imagine
Yeah.
though, like, that's a $50,000 like item that your team has to hold, and Gronkowski now has that thing there. He looks at that dint and he goes, "That's my trophy.
Yeah.
That is my trophy."
I'm gonna
Oh,
be honest. If I've just won the Super Bowl and we're at a parade, I've been drinking all day, I'm just having a good time. I'm probably gonna do some wild stuff with the trophy. Gonna throw it in the air, just because. Like, why not? Like, let's just have some fun.
oh,
Because
100%,
I can't just
100%.
stand there the whole time thinking, "Oh, this precious thing, like it's a newborn baby." No, let's have a good time. So I would probably do some mad stuff with it as well. I can't lie.
Well, do you remember when in 2011 when Sergio Ramos for Real Madrid dropped the Spanish cup
Oh
under the
yeah,
bus? Oh my god, that honestly,
yeah. I don't know about that, but yeah,
I think there's it's actually in Real Madrid's in like their trophy room, that actual trophy that's like, and it is mashed up. We'll get a picture of it up now. Like, it is mashed up beyond belief.
yeah.
Like, it's just completely apart. So next up, we're going to go into our MVP players. I've picked Patrick Mahomes just because if he's not going to win the Super Bowl or get to Super Bowl, he's at least got to win MVP. He balls out every single season. So I feel like it's just going to continue to run in that direction for the MVP trophy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you gone for Russell Wilson for your MVP.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson is a very good shout because I think for the past few years he's either been not in the race, but he's been like third or fourth, so he's been there and thereabouts. So everyone's always looking at Russell Wilson. So he's got the media coverage and all of that sort of stuff. He will have the hype if he's winning games. I feel like the whole him nearly moving this summer. I feel like he's not going to be on a revenge tour, but he's going to prove that him and the Seahawks are still like a very dangerous team, and I feel like that will then like translate into his numbers and his wins. And as I said, I feel like the MVP is a very like media narrative sort of award. So I feel like the media can get behind Russell Wilson. So I could see him going for the MVP this year.
Fair enough. Like I said, like both, two great cases to go for the MVP award this year. So let's just go into our rookie of the year. So obviously, like I said before, obviously we don't know where these players will land, but because of the talent that some of these players possess, we can only guess who will be the best out of the lot. So we've gone for running backs opposed to quarterbacks this year, which is obviously normally is a quarterback position, but because I feel like the teams who are going to look to pick QBs, they're not going to be able to make a case for the QB just yet. So I've gone for Najee Harris of Alabama. This guy has been all over the news, for many different reasons. One reason, I think one thing was because like he weighs, I think he weighs a certain amount. I think it's ridiculous about the like everyone talk about the way how much he weighs, but you think of like Derrick Henry, he weighs way like a lot for an NFL.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but
He's a brick wall.
yeah, and he manages to run so fast. So I feel like he'll be a player similar to that. And obviously you've gone for Clemson running back, isn't that what's called now? Travis
Etienne,
Etienne.
yeah.
So what's your reason behind that one?
I feel like I was very close to picking Najee Harris as well. Just a shout out to him. I think he was my favorite play in college football last year. I think it was the hurdle against Notre Dame. It's absolutely ridiculous.
That's
yeah.
the only reason I picked him.
But yeah, I went for Etienne just because I feel like obviously he's going to be an NFL running back. He's absolutely rapid, but I feel like he's a 3 down back. He can catch it out of the backfield. I feel like that is a very big thing for offenses in the NFL, like running backs catching out of the backfield. So I feel like the numbers that he's going to put up, obviously, it all depends on him going to the right team and them using him properly. But the skills that he has, I feel like he's perfect for a running back in today's game. So yeah,
No,
I'll go with Etienne.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think he's got. I think his stats look at around 914 yards, 14 touchdowns. Like both of them, like we said, both of them are ballers in their own, their respective fields of what sort of running back they are. But either way, I think whoever acquires them is going to be a very lucky team in order to get players like them. So let's go into our offensive player of the years. So again, we've all gone for similar positions, so we've both gone for wide receivers. I've gone for Emmanuel Sanders. Just because, like I said, the Bills are, in my opinion, the Bills are going to make a really strong Super Bowl run. They're going to go all the way. And I feel like the separation between, obviously I'd love to go for Stephon Diggs, but I feel like because Emmanuel Sanders, I don't want to say he has something to prove because he doesn't really, but I feel like because his move from New Orleans was so big, because it was so unexpected, because you look at the Saints and they're not going to do terrible this year. Jameis Winston may be the QB, but he's not a terrible QB, and I feel like he'll be able to do the job on when the day comes to it, because he'll be prepared for it a bit more. But obviously with him moving, he has got a bit of a point to prove, and because of the baller that he is under a quarterback like Josh Allen and the organization as a whole, I feel like I think he'll just shine this year in that city. And obviously, I think it was 2 days after he signed for them. He drove down to Buffalo with his family. He sat at a Buffalo wing place, and he properly got involved with the Buffalo culture. And I feel like that will only resonate on the field when he's playing. So that's my pick for Offensive Player of the Year. Who have you gone for, KB?
I've gone for DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like in his head, he thinks he's the number one receiver in the NFL. I think there's the public it kind of sways from year to year or from even game to game who's the best. But I feel like this is the season where he stamps it that he's the best. Like I said, I'm expecting a lot from the Cardinals this year. If it goes how I think it's going to go, I think he has an unreal year. Like I said, I think he stamps himself as the number one receiver in the league. And I just feel like what he's going to do is, I don't think we can, it's going to leave any doubt. I don't think anyone's going to be able to take anything away from him. So I feel like the Offensive Player of the Year I think DeAndre Hopkins is gonna take it in the end.
No, 100%. Like once again, we're putting such good cases forward to this. I won't be surprised if some of these actually come true in this upcoming season. So, Defensive Player of the Year, we've gone for the two people that who sort of, well, no, actually, no, actually, yeah. So the awards that these guys won last year was sort of a bit ooh and ahhing about because of the way that they won him. So obviously, I've gone for last year's Rookie of the Year, Chase Young, just because he destroyed last year. He did an absolute job last year. I knew he was going to be good, but I didn't think he'd actually make such a statement, especially at Washington, because their season had they took a bad start and they got themselves to a level where they made a statement for themselves. And I feel this will only resonate year after year after year, just because that's the sort of player he is. Like the fact that he called out Tom Brady in his rookie year, it just says something about his character and his belief in himself to a certain, to the extent of he wants to be the greatest, and he possibly has the chance to be one of the greatest defensive players of all time. And obviously the controversy that came with it was because he won it over Justin Jefferson, who did make a really big statement for himself. But end of the day, they both had a great season, but it's just one thing over the other. And you gone for TJ Watt, who obviously got sort of he sort of got underappreciated last year because obviously he was my defensive player of the year last year, but Aaron Donald won it over him, even though TJ had better stats than him. Let's just not get into that because I know that I can already see our good friend DK, who's a big LA Rams fan, come into the room and saying, "Oh, you really?" Because we had a big discussion about it last, like when it got announced, and obviously when I put something on Instagram saying that, I think I retweeted what JJ Watt retweeted, about how TJ had better stats, and it was just a whole discussion about it. But you go for TJ Watt. Tell us your reasoning behind it, other than the fact he's a baller.
Yeah, I feel like the Steelers defense is still going to be our main asset. Do you get me? Like, I don't think the offense has got a whole lot better. The defense, I think we have lost Bud Dupree, which is going to affect TJ Watt a lot because that is going to affect the pass rush. That's one less player for the opposing offense to deal with. So it will be a bit harder for him. But I do still feel like the Steelers defense has a lot of weapons, and he's not the leader of the defense, but he's going to be like the star boy, if you want to put it that way. I can't see his numbers dropping off too much. So yeah, I'm going to go TJ Watt again. I think the whole thing last year as well is only going to help him. I think the media will get a bit more behind him if he's got a similar sort of season. Like, he might get a few more votes just because people are going to say, "Oh, this is back-to-back years now. He's done what he's doing." So yeah, I'm going to go TJ Watt. But I do really like the Chase Young pick because I do feel like not even just this year coming up for the next few years that he's going to be a major problem.
No, fair enough. So we're going to go into our offensive rookie of the year. So I've gone for tight end Kyle Pitts from Florida, just because, and I think a lot of people will be thinking, why have I not picked quarterbacks this year? And like I said, I feel like the quarterbacks in this draft class, and the teams that need quarterbacks this year, I just don't feel like this is their year for rookie quarterbacks to. I just don't feel like this is the year for the rookie quarterbacks to make their statements just yet. Obviously, I'm not denying the fact that Trevor Lawrence is, one of the greatest college prospects of all time, and Zach Wilson has made a case for himself in recent weeks, and Justin Fields and Mac Jones and all, they're great players. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that because of the fact that because they're going to go to teams that need a lot of work on their, with a QB. I don't think it'll be their time to shine. When you look at Justin Herbert, everything was in place for him. He only had to throw the ball. That's all he had to do, really. And obviously, because of his leadership role in the LA Chargers, that's what made him so great, surprisingly. But going back to Kyle Pitts, I feel like, I've seen his workout videos. He's, for me, he is a next generation talent at tight end. I'm just going to try and get his stats up right now for last season. 12 touchdowns, 770 yards out of 43 receptions, an average yard per reception of 17.9. It's, like I said, the guy's a freak. Like, he literally is. I think the only team that he lost to last year was Alabama, which is understandable because Alabama is such a big team.
Alabama is Alabama.
Yeah, that's all you got to say, really, isn't it? Bama is Bama. Roll Tide will roll Tide. But obviously, I think the one game I first recognized him properly was against Georgia, last July when they won 44-28, and he was all over the show that game. He was an absolute star. I think I'm trying to get his stats up right now. So on that game alone, he made it was against it wasn't against Georgia. It was against Kentucky. 99 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, that doesn't go unnoticed. And but like I said, he is a next generation tight end for me. But who have you gone for, KB?
I've gone for Trevor Lawrence. I think I'm kind of contradicting what I said before in terms of I don't like to pick the favourites, but I feel like it's just meant to be. And if it's not, then someone has a lot of answering to do. I feel like when you said before about the teams they're going to go to, I think he's linked with the Jags now. I think everyone's thinking the Jags are going to pick him up. Now, obviously, the Jags are not a very good team, but I just feel like we've been talking about this guy for the past. I mean, if you just concentrate on the NFL, you probably heard about him in the past 2 or 3 years. But for those who like concentrate on college football, high school football, we've literally known who Trevor Lawrence is for ages now. And I just feel like if he gets to the NFL, I don't feel like he has to do as much as everyone else to be considered for the award, if you get what I'm saying. I feel like not a bang average season, but a good season. You'll have the media coverage, you'll have the media hype, you'll have the whole like star boy feeling. I just feel like it's kind of meant to be for him to win it. So as long as he doesn't like stink up the place, I think it's kind of his award to lose.
No, fair enough, 100%. Like I said before, he is probably one of the best college quarterbacks of all time because of the stats he put up, because of the things that he did. I mean, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I said that he beat Alabama with 6 weeks of preparation for him in his rookie year against one of if not the greatest college coach of all time. Again, that doesn't go unnoticed in that fact. So let's just go on to our defensive rookie of the year. We've both gone for the same player, Patrick Surtain II. Like I said before, he is the cornerback to have in this draft class this year. I think let's just get up his stats again, because that for me stats say it all. Like it's all good saying saying, oh, he has the potential to do this, he has the potential to do that, but when you look at
him, do it?
Yeah, can he do it? Like, because he has done it. He's done it. Obviously, college level is obviously different to NFL, but it has a certain reputation for you. So obviously, first of all, he plays at Alabama. Alabama only recruits the best players. Let's be honest. Something that's been known for many, many years. So this year, just alone, he did. I don't know. So he had one interception, which is fair enough. Like Alabama don't really play for the interception; they play for the field space. That's what Alabama are known for. 22 solo tackles in the whole year, 14 assisted. 22 solo tackles, 14 assisted. What's it now? He got 25 yards off that one and scored I think it was actually a touchdown. So a pick six interception it was last season. And like I said, again, he's played against teams that are, they're big teams who he's played against. I mean, the fact that he's managed to keep bay some of the best players in, wide receivers and stuff like that in the league. If you look at Ohio State University, the wide receivers that they have this year and the talent they have this year to get to the national final shows why they beat him so badly in the national final. And Patrick Surtain was one of those players that was contributing to that. No one could get past him when he was playing cover two or dropping or coming forward to cover one. It's a simple fact that he will be, whichever team acquires him, will be the team that succeeds in that fact. And I personally feel like it might be the Cardinals because of the position that they're at. But you never know. Like, what's your case for Patrick Surtain, unless it's exactly the same with what I said?
Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, we picked the same person for like a reason. I feel like wherever he goes, he's gonna be like, he might not be the number one guy, but he's definitely gonna be a big part of that defense. And I feel like that plays a part for these sort of roles because when it comes to the rookies, obviously certain rookies might be better than other rookies, but what you're doing on your team is going to play a big part in whether you win the award or not. And him being one of the main parts of a defense of whatever team he goes to is going to play a big part in him winning that award. Sorry.
No, 100%. So let's go into our dark horse areas. So let's pick our teams first. And of course, I'm picking my New England Patriots to be the dark horse team. I'm sorry, but with the players we've got in this offseason, we can't be overlooked this year. You know what I mean? Like obviously since Cal Newton got re-signed, I've been following his Instagram like crazy. The videos he's been posting of his workouts and what he's been saying. This guy is fully committed to New England. Like it's not even like a joke. Like I thought Cam Newton was sort of not using us. I'm not going to say he's used us to get better, but I thought he was just there for a year just to get throwing the ball again. He was going to move on, sort of thing, and try and take over somewhere else. But because of what he's been saying in interviews, all over the place, and how he talks about the Patriots, like he's not said anything about, because I feel like, well, how do I explain it now? Let me try and rephrase it. With the interviews that he's been on, he had the perfect opportunity to tell teams, "Come and get me. I am here. I'm ready. I'm ready to play." Instead, he talked about the Patriots and only the Patriots. He didn't mention Carolina. He didn't mention about, like I said, going to other teams. He was mentioning Bill Belichick, the coaches, the players. Everything was about New England. And then additional to that, you look at the players that we signed last year, that's why this offseason, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, just big balling players. Obviously, like they're not the best of their field, but they're going to be enough for us because the Patriots are known for not signing the best players. We're known for signing the players that make statements on the day and can make the job that fits our scheme the best. So I think it's only right that I go for my New England Patriots and back them to be a dark horse team this year. Like I said, not Super Bowl team, but definitely a strong playoff contending team.
Now that I've just heard you speak about your team, I'm really feeling like I should have picked the Steelers, but that's just purely me being a homer. So I'm gonna stick with the Rams. So yeah, the Rams is my pick. I feel like they are in a very, very, very tough conference. I think is it the NFC West with the Cardinals? As I said, I expect the Cardinals to do a lot this year. The Seahawks are going to be the Seahawks, and you got the 49ers too. But I feel like they've got the weapons, first of all. They've got the coach. I feel like a few years ago we were talking about McVay being like one of the next great NFL coaches. They've got a new quarterback. They've still got a great defense. I feel like everything is there for them to make a lot of noise in the NFL this year. But it's just whether they can get over some of the problems that they had last year. I'm assuming that's why they got rid of Goff and they've brought in Stafford. So if that works out well, then I feel like they will make a lot of noise this year.
No, but yeah, the Rams have obviously the Rams have had a few issues. Obviously, I think first of all, Rams fans didn't really. I've never really liked Jared Goff. They sort of just settled for him because they knew that.
I think that season where he had a great season, that was for a lot of people like, oh, okay, then he's great. When before that he wasn't great, and after that he wasn't great. But that one season kind of got everyone's hopes up, and then he got the big contract. And then when you seen him play last season, you were like, oh, yeah, I remember this guy. He wasn't really that great, was he? So I feel like that did play a big part into it.
It's sort of like when you're having a dream and it suddenly turns like boom back into a nightmare, and it's like, oh no. Why did I say all that stuff? Why did I tweet all that stuff on Twitter saying that Goff is the next best system quarterback? Like that was something that I saw a lot. Like after I think it was like just before the Super Bowl and after Super Bowl, people saying, oh, Jared Goff is a better system quarterback. He's the next big thing, and I was like, just wait, just
yeah,
because you weren't loving him last year.
Exactly. The tables turned and they've turned back just as quick.
Yes, they did. So let's go into our final award. Our final prediction of Dark Horse Player of the Year. So this is someone who's this is the player that we feel like is going to sort of surprise us in terms of he might even be in the MVP / offensive or defensive player of the year award conversations. But I gone for Carson Wentz of the Colts, the new quarterback for the Colts. So the reason I'm saying this is because Carson Wentz has something to prove now. He's no longer an organization that, let's be honest, they disrespected him for too many years. They did. Like even though they got rid of Nick Foles, instead of him, they kept sort of rolling over him to get the next best thing. And then last year with Jalen Hurts, sort of, coming in and taking over the spot and, and sort of, they sort of did what the Bears did yesterday and tweeted their QB1. That's what, for those who don't know, the Chicago Bears did tweet on all their social media and, well, not tweet, they posted on all the social media about Andy Dalton being there starting QE, but I'm not putting my energy into that because it's just a shit show. My first time swearing on the show, it's a shit show over in Chicago. So
Just the Bears to make you swear for the first time.
Honestly, like that's one thing I said. I'm not gonna. What I said before the show, I'm not putting my energy towards this, but it's in my head. I had to say it. So that's my. I promise I won't swear anymore. Sorry, YouTube. Please, please don't cancel. But like obviously going into it, it's Carson Wentz has a lot to prove to himself because he's such a good quarterback. He just never had the team to believe in him. And I feel like with the Colts, they obviously believe in him. They're giving him a quite a big contract for the player that he hasn't really played properly in a few years. So it's all on him now to prove it. And I think that he will prove it this year.
I think with the whole Wentz, it's not similar to what we said with Goff, but they kind of both, I think they both had that great season at the same time but then Wentz got hurt. But I feel like the difference is Wentz is actually good. And I feel like when the tables turned on him, there was a lot to play. There was a lot going on in Philadelphia last year. So I feel like him getting the fresh start and all of that, I feel like it could be good for him.
Yeah, because the great thing about the Colts, they have a great offensive line, so they will keep him healthy. Whereas the Philadelphia Eagles, the offensive line was one of their main problems. But let's just roll on. Let's go into your conversation. Sorry for interrupting you.
All right, it's cool. So my pick was Aaron Jones, and I don't feel like when you ask me dark horse player, I don't think he's gonna win any awards. I don't think he's gonna win Offensive Player of the Year or MVP or anything like that. But I feel like a player who might not get the plaudits he deserves. Everyone's not going to be screaming his name. His name's not going to be on Sports Center and Bleacher Report every weekend. But he is going to produce very, very good numbers. He is going to play on a very, very good team. He's obviously going to have Aaron Rodgers with him. And I feel like if the Packers want to go where they want to get to Super Bowls and to winning them, I feel like obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to play a big part in it. But you need that run game. You really, really need that run game. And I feel like the production that Aaron Jones is going to be able to offer is gonna get him in like those sort of conversations for dark horse players. Obviously the team's gonna win games and all of that's gonna come with it as well. So yeah, I've gone with Aaron Jones for my dark horse pick.
No, that is an excellent pick, and obviously listening to you talk about the situation that he's in at Green Bay with with everything they said about him with being at Aaron Rodgers and the type of player that he won't be on Bleacher Report and whatnot every single week or House of Highlights, but he will do enough to to be there. So yeah, like I said, it's something that these are players that obviously we're not saying they will win MVPs, but they'll certainly be maybe in a conversation coming towards the end of that season, of next season. So that is all we've got for NFL news this week. Next up, we're going to talk about football or soccer, wherever you're listening from and where you call it. We're going to talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Obviously, last week we got beat by Leicester. We got battered by Leicester. Let's say that.
Sorry, just a quick story about that game. I was watching it and I wasn't in bed, but I was on my bed. And I was watching it on my phone just because I just couldn't be bothered putting it on the TV. I think my girlfriend was watching something on the TV or something. But I watched the whole first half and it was effing and jeffing the whole time. Like I'm a shouter when I watch football. And then the second half started and I know I've watched United enough times where I can say we're winning this game. We might win this game or we're definitely not winning this game. 10 minutes into the second half, I said we're definitely not winning this game. I just went to sleep. I turned it off. I thought, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. I turned it on an hour later, like checked the score, and we got beat 3-1. I went on Twitter and it was just meltdown about Fred and Solskjaer, and I just thought, oh, it's just typical. Like I just knew from watching the first half, I just knew the boys, they weren't at it. It was going to be one of them days.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that next up on Untitled Talk. So KB's obviously made this point very strong, so this might be a funny one for both of us. So this is Tyler Brown and KB of Untitled Talk. Stay tuned for this big Manchester United debate between two Manchester United fans. Stay tuned for more. Right, so yes, as we said, as KB clearly put it, he is not happy with obviously Manchester United crashing out of the FA Cup last week. I mean, I'm not happy as well. Like, like it's just like it's frustrating because obviously, you know what is like I need to give Solskjaer that. Well, I think everyone needs to give Solskjaer a bit of a slap in the back of the head, but he needs to stop being so positive after wins, after losses. Sorry. Oh my! If he's positive about losing, it sort of puts me in a false sense of security, just because he'll make up the worst excuse ever. He's like a child when you catch him in the act doing something and they make up this really crap excuse and you just know they're lying. But because it happens all the time, you can be mad at him, but you also can't be mad at him. So the reason he said obviously because he made 5 changes. By the way, that's the most changes ever made to a side from a previous game. I think the most ever done is 3. No, 2. Sorry, 2. That's the most he's ever done.
A mad stat. I didn't know that. That's mad.
So that is the most he's ever checked. Like I looked at it and I went, that's 5 changes he's made from the win at AC Milan. I understand that Rashford was injured. Rashford's injured a little bit, and who else was missing? Shaw he ran all over AC. So I'm not surprised that he's taking a break. But if he's a footballer, that's what he's. Over Christmas, they managed to play 4, 5, 6 games over a 2-week period. So it's like, what's the difference?
If anything, this is the calmer bit of the season. If anything, it's games. Obviously, we have 2 games a week, but it's unfortunately for United, it's Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Yeah, but
there were times this week when it was Monday, Thursday, Sunday, like ridiculous like that. So
yeah, but then you think of it as like it's international. Obviously, it's international friendlies this week, and not friendly and World Cup qualifiers. But as a club manager, I'll just think, you know what, he's gonna have a bit of time off to play, possibly not play for England. Let's just play him, and he can have. He's sort of Gareth Southgate's problem then.
Yeah,
the
thing is with Shaw as well. I don't know the numbers on it, but I am pretty sure every time Luke Shaw does not start a game, he comes on at some point. And for me, that for a left back is ridiculous. Like, surely if you're a left back, if you're a striker and you're on the bench, you can kind of expect to come on. Centre mid. But if you're playing at left back, I do think it is a bit ridiculous that every single time he doesn't start, he gets brought on. That to me says a lot about Alex Tellez, but that's another conversation for another day.
No, it is. No, I feel we do need to let's touch into it a little bit later on. But it's like I said, going back to Solskjaer, that was 5 changes he made. It's the most changes he's ever made since taking over Manchester United. It's. But even like I said, it's like with the international thing, you sort of push it. You make him play one more game, then you just sort of push it to Gareth Southgate or the Portuguese manager and go, there you go, it's your problem now. That's your decision if you want to play him or not. So, but obviously, because Solskjaer needs to win a cup, so because obviously, let's have a look at the thing here. So since December 2018, when he took over as caretaker, then obviously got made official in March. So that season, he came 6th in the Premier League. That's fine. That's understandable. He was cleaning up after the mess that Jose Mourinho sort of left us in. But then, Champions League quarterfinals, we beat PSG and stuff like that was it that year? No, it wasn't that year, was it? Was it the following year? No, I can't remember.
What, when we beat PSG? What, from when he started?
Yeah, it was that year.
I think it was the same year. Yeah, it was the same year.
I don't think why was it such a big
because that was the first knockout game, I think.
Man United. Oh. See, people are going to think we're such bad fans because we just can't remember. But because we're on.
I was thinking, did we have Mourinho with the pink kit? I'm pretty sure we did. I can't remember. We run through managers now. I can't remember.
I know we're starting to turn to that team. Well, you say that before, yeah. We've had quite a few managers, but I'm just trying to think now. Man United PSG. 2019. Yeah, so Solskjaer was there, yeah.
Yeah, because it was part of the mad run that we went on, yeah, when we just started winning every game and we slapped Cardiff 4-0. Yeah, it was part of that run.
Because it was round of 16. You know
Ollie's
what?
at the wheel. Yeah.
You know what it is? For some reason, I always forget about the round of 16. I don't know why. I think I genuinely don't
go
know
straight to
why.
like the quarterfinals and that. Yeah.
I don't know why. I think because I think it happened so quickly. It just skips my mind. But yeah, so that was in the round of 16 that we came. But obviously, like I said, we went on a mad run that season. We're doing so great, and then we lost to Barcelona in the quarter. Was it Barcelona in the quarterfinals? I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
It wasn't. They toyed with us.
Yeah. So that was obviously our situation that year. And then so his first proper year, 2019/20, came third in the Premier League. That's not bad, first proper season taking over. And then it came semi-final, both against Man City, and the Europa League semi-final, we flopped it. Like that's the only thing
those games hurt, man. So much. Like you can probably hear it in my voice, but the Europa League game, I think we battered them and we just didn't finish. The FA Cup, I think it was against Chelsea. David De Gea came with his stupidness. And the League Cup was kind of expected. We got battered by City. I wasn't that bothered about that. Yeah. But the FA Cup and the Europa League, they really hurt me, man. They really hurt.
It's like I said about against the Sevilla game, we ran them all over the pitch, and it's just like we scored early with a penalty, whatever. Man United score penalties, but then it was like all we had to do is just keep that lead up, even just keep a 1-0 win's not a bad win, but it's like we kept going for it, but then backing off at the last second. It was like we're trying to, in the last minutes of the game where you sort of hold the ball in the corner a little bit. We're sort of doing that, but for what 81 minutes of the game, for 81 minutes of the game, and it's like that's not going to work because the players are fresh. Like it's the start of the game, and they're obviously going to attack you and want the ball back. They're not knackered after this. Last 5 minutes the players are knackered, and they're sort of going to fight for it, but you sort of got the fact that they got lack of energy on this side. But then obviously going to this season, we're second in the Premier League, still going on, but. Like we said before, if we're not too careful, it could turn into a top 4 race at this rate. With Leicester, because obviously we face them in a few weeks, and that's the game we sort of need to win if we need to keep ourselves second. And obviously, we crashed out of the quarterfinals last week. We lost to Man City in the League Cup semi-finals, again, and then the Europa League quarterfinals were still in. So. Naturally, Europa League's looking good for us. We've got Granada in a very lucky draw. Loads of my friends, loads of my friends who I talked to on Xbox, were not happy at all. Shout out to Matty, Sam, Jack.
United. To all those friends, sorry to interrupt you. To all those friends, United always get the hardest draws, whether it's FA Cup, Europa League, League Cup. If City are in it, we get City. If it's Arsenal, we get. So, us getting Granada, for once, we got the easy draw. Even last round, we got AC Milan. So we deserve it. I'm taking it. We deserve it.
I'm going to get so much stick on Xbox now because of it. Because you're not talking to, I'm talking to them on Xbox.
Send them my way then.
Because obviously we did the live draw for it on YouTube. I did the live on it. And literally the group chat, the second we drew Granada, I just saw, obviously, the group chat called The Boys. It just went, The Boys is typing, send, The Boys. Yeah. It's just it just went on about United getting easy draw. And I was like, well, no, we got AC Milan last round. So it's one of those, isn't it? But it's, we're in a good position to win a title win a trophy this year with the Europa League. If we do win it, fair enough. It's about time we win a trophy. But, as Manchester United, we shouldn't be competing for Europa League. We should be competing for Champions League. So
I think,
go on.
In terms of the whole trophy thing, Ollie does need to win his first trophy. I see that is very important. So if Ollie wins the Europa League, thumbs up to him. Do you get me? Well done.
You've won pressure off his shoulders.
You've won your first trophy. The media is going to be off your back. You probably stop a few Twitter memes and all that sort of stuff. But if you ask me at the start of the season, United win the Europa League, are you happy? No, because we weren't even in the Europa League to start this season. So how can we be happy that we won it? We were meant to be in the Champions League and we got knocked out of the group stages. So I don't think we can, as I think Ollie can be happy at winning the Europa League, and everyone who's an Ollie fan can be happy for him. You get me? I'll be happy for him. But Manchester United, we shouldn't be happy at winning the Europa League because, like I said, we weren't even in the Europa League to start the season. So how can we be happy about winning it when, if I would have asked any United fan at the start of the season, will you take the Europa League? They would have looked at me like I'm stupid because we weren't even in the Europa League. So I don't think we can be that happy about winning the Europa League.
No, 100%, and it's just like I said, like we're like, we like I don't want to sound like like one of those people like like an Arsenal TV sort of vibe or like Red the Red Devils one podcast and like we're Manchester United, we bleed trophies and we
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound like that, but it sort of comes with the connotation of being a club that this big. People say obviously other fans are going to say, oh well, you're not that big, you haven't won a trophy and that, you haven't won a major trophy and blah blah blah, but we are still a big club. Like we are,
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
we're a huge club. We're probably one off, if I per se.
We're top three. I'll say it because you don't want to say it. We're top three.
Yeah, like we are.
We're top three. Facts. Like I'm not hearing what anyone says. We're top three.
It is though. Like we are one of, if not, like probably one of the top teams in England. And obviously people say, oh, that's because you got history, but it's like, no, well, look at us now. With we're second in the Premier League behind a very, very, very strong Manchester City team. Yeah, we were first in we were first for a period of time, but Man City's obviously got the squad depth that no other team has in possibly the world. No one has that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They've got a FIFA squad.
Yeah, they have. They like literally that's a FIFA career mode squad where you just buy all these great players, and then if someone gets in, you go, oh well, I don't care. I'll just stick him in. I'll stick him in. I'll stick him in. It's ridiculous. So, for us, for like you said, for Solskjaer to win Europa League, that's fair enough. But we should not be competing for Europa League. That's not us. That's an Arsenal thing. That is an Arsenal thing to do. Arsenal compete for Europa League. They're not even going to get in it this year because of from, in my opinion, Arteta out because he's just not the right person for the job. But people who was, I saw, obviously, naturally, you always get the odd person saying, "Oh, hashtag Ollie out." But no, it's not. I don't think it's an Ollie out situation. I thought,
me neither.
Like I've never, by the way, I've never said Ollie out. Like I've never, ever, ever, hand on my heart, never said Ollie out in my life. Just because, if you think about it, it's his second proper season at the club. So to a degree, let's discard 18-19 season. Like it is his second full season at a club, because it's not like he's come from glorious backgrounds like Pep Guardiola, Bayern Munich and and Barcelona and stuff like that. He's come from Mold FC, and Cardiff City. Like when you look at that progression, he's gone from getting relegated with Cardiff and doing great in with mold to becoming second in the Premier League, getting to semi-final, quarter-final stages of the League Cup, FA Cup, and possibly going to win a Europa League. That's such a good achievement for someone who when he first got appointed, everyone's like, oh, why have they got him when they could have got this person, that person, and people are still saying about Pochettino and stuff like that. But he's not a terrible manager. He's still technically learning the ropes of how to handle a big club, and
I agree.
And
I agree. I'm not.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry.
No, it's just like it's sort of like. Obviously, I do get frustrated on a match day. I do think, why the hell has he made so many changes before an international break? Why is first of all, why is Tellers being picked over Shaw? Why is Fernandez not on the pitch? Why are you risking I don't think Pogba should have been on the pitch because he's just come out of an injury and you're facing a tough hitting team at Leicester. It sort of shouldn't really put him on the pitch. You put Matic on the pitch as well, which was a very big mistake in my opinion. Obviously, Fred, who I've said this also, him and Daniel James, they can't stay on their feet for more than 5 seconds with the ball, or they can't stop getting their feet muddled up or something like that.
Yeah.
It's, I do get frustrated with Ollie sometimes, but when I look back at it, it is the fact of he's still a developing manager in the Premier League. And Rome wasn't built in a day. You look at Fergie's first couple of seasons, he almost got sacked.
I was gonna say, yeah, he did. He nearly got sacked at one point. There
He got
was
sacked at one
a
point,
lot of
and
media, a media like campaign to get him sacked at one point.
yeah, and I'm not. By the way, I'm nowhere near saying that Solskjaer is now going to go on to win 20. When there's like 12 league, 12 to 15 league titles in the FA Cup and Champions Leagues, and I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that just like he's still developing himself as a manager in a certain way. So we need to stop giving him all the hate that people are giving him, and just he's now. Let's look at the club in general. You've now seen a big change, which we haven't seen since Fergie left. Obviously that obviously comes with the fact that Darren Fletcher and John Murtow are now obviously technical director and football director of the club, which is positions we've not seen, like I said, since Fergie's left. Ed Woodward was obviously in charge of everything, transfers. A person who doesn't know anything about football pretty much was in charge of our transfers. And now that we're looking at Darren Fletcher, who knows the club ethos inside and out, he's such a big player for us. And John Murtagh, who obviously understands the club from a business perspective, he knows how big of a club it is. So we might be able to get the big players. Like I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying we're gonna, go out and buy Mbappe this season, or maybe even Haaland, maybe. But we'll be able to get
You're
Kane.
getting Kane.
Yeah, like I'm not saying we're gonna get these sort of players, but it's going to be it's going to be our transfer negotiations and transfer business is going to go back to the days of Fergie, where you never heard anything. You never heard anything about transfer dues, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 we'd have 3 or 4 players signed. Whereas now we'd have 3 or 4 players rumored, and then go for Plan Z.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is true.
Like that's how it is. That's how it is now. Like you look at Fergie's transfer business, it'd be you'd hear the odd spatter about Ronaldo, and Ronaldo might be coming back, and it's like United fans knew it never happened. We like to entertain it. We knew it never happened.
Yeah. That's the thing with United, though. United get linked to every single player and their brother and their mum and their cousin, and it doesn't matter because it's United. They get linked to everyone. So I think sometimes you can kind of tell which has legs and which one's just paper talk. But United get linked to every player that gets bought in the Premier League has been linked to United. I will put money on it.
No, it's true, and it's like like I said, like with the positions and the way that the club is moving forward, we will obviously move in a direction that's going to be positive from now on. I think like I saw something the other day from because obviously Solskjaer and Haaland have a great connection through Mold, Solskjaer won't stop calling him about coming to United. I feel like there's like 2% truth there in terms of he probably contacts his agent or something about let's make the deal happen. I won't say he's like up all night, like a crazy ex-girlfriend or a crazy girl, like ringing, you're blowing up your Instagram and your phone and your emails and stuff like that. Which is how the media portrays it, because that's how the media does it. But Haaland obviously has a great thing going at Dortmund. It won't last forever. I think even he knows that to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think the world knows. When they signed him, they didn't think he's going to be here for the rest of his career.
I feel like
when Dortmund signed anyone, that's how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, but I feel like Haaland will stay for a few more because he can't leave after a year. Like
I don't think he'll leave this year. I think he's gone next year.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's definitely gone next year.
Yeah, because it's you can't just spend a year at a club and then just disappear. I know that's sometimes the football business, but Haaland's a bit more humble in that. I understand that he just won't do that to Dortmund. He cares about the club a little bit. You can tell he does.
I just think he stays another year just because I think it just makes more sense. I don't think anyone's ready to like pounce on it yet. Do you get me? Maybe City, but I don't think any other teams that are going to spend the money to get him are ready this year. I think it's next year that everything can start rolling and everything works a bit better.
100%. Yeah, and obviously, like I said, like the club is moving in a direction where we, only good things can come from it. And and even though Manchester United have sort of lost their identity because Fergie was such a big part of the club, and like I said, I don't really like going back to the Fergie days because them days are literally over. And never,
Fortunately.
yeah, unfortunately, shit happens. You know what I mean? Like it happens. It's football. Like people who sort of expect him to stay forever. Like obviously people say that he has such a big role in the club. I don't think he has that. I think he has. I think Solskjaer comes to him for advice. I don't think he's on the phone to the Glazers or whatever,
Yeah.
saying
No.
make him do this or please
Yeah.
or here's a bit of advice. I think
I'd be surprised if it's even that. I think he's just there. He's just there because he can be, and it's Fergie, innit? Like,
yeah, and then
if they
occasionally
need to ask him anything, they'll ask him. But for the most part, he's just there because he can be. Like,
yeah, but like I
I
mean
think that's what it is.
yeah. I mean like he's got a bloody stand named after him. Like
Yeah,
like
like literally, it's his. This is his. It's all his. So if he wants to be there, then let him be there, innit? That's what I think it is.
no 100%. Like but I'm like obviously you got it wrong. Like Fergie got it wrong with the Moise decision because yeah, I mean it's David Moyes. Well, see the thing is though, I feel for something I feel bad for saying it was David Moyes because he's doing well with West Ham, but we all know
But
next
it's
season.
David Moyes.
Yeah, and next season he
That's
won't.
West Ham's David Moyes, not flipping Champions League nights away at Bayern Munich. That's not
Yeah,
David Moyes. Do you get me? Like,
like
well, it is
yeah.
what it is.
That's what I mean. Because obviously, like some people, I think it's like some other people I've spoken to, on Instagram and stuff like that. They've all said like, oh, as a Man United fan, are you gutted about David Moyes doing so well? I'm like, well, no, because it's different circumstances. Like he took over from the greatest, not one of the greatest football manager of all time, easily the greatest of all time. GOAT, goat. He took over from such a big thing, and yeah, I suppose he shouldn't really get sacked after a year because it sort of opened
Yes, he
us up.
should have. I'll say it, sack him.
Like, so I think it's because I'm just not a fan.
It is harsh though. I do see that. It
Yeah,
is
that's
harsh,
like
but
as much as he was ruining. No, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad. I just feel like the case wasn't put forward enough because obviously, like I like it. Like we obviously say that Moisey was such a crap manager for us and whatnot. But like I said, he took over such a big responsibility. He went from Everton. Like
I
obviously,
just feel like,
look at Everton now. They're not.
yeah,
they're doing things right now at the moment. Well, they were until obviously they sort of dropped off. But he went from Everton to the biggest club in the world and was expected to win everything on the drop of a hat. Obviously, we did fall harshly, but I would have given him at least until Christmas next season or something. Just so give him a summer transfer window at least. I think that's something every manager should have. They should have a full summer transfer window up and then have up until Christmas to at least do something because that was all Fergie's team. That was all Fergie's team, and he was supposed to manage all these players that he hasn't selected. Even like one or two people bringing in is a big difference to your squad. And obviously, go to Louis van Gaal and the same. And Louis van Gaal, for me, I didn't like Louis van Gaal. I didn't like his very defensive style of play because it's so anti-Man United. But and then obviously go to Mourinho. Mourinho was I'm gonna say so. I never wanted Mourinho. I'm gonna say it right now. I know that Man United fans loved Mourinho, but I wasn't in love with Mourinho just because I felt like because we've had so much. I think because with Mourinho, you always get the media. That's synonymous. That's just something. That's like everything, isn't it? That's like that's like cows with milk. It's just something that comes with the other. I don't know where that came from, cows and milk, but first and pops in my head. But it's something that comes with it. And with Man United's personal media history, we didn't need the extra, kick up the ass from the media for Mourinho to go, oh, respect, free Premier League. Like that was something I knew would happen. I knew he'd implode eventually.
yeah. That's the thing with Mourinho. It's at first it's us versus them. So it's me and if I'm Mourinho, it's me and the players versus the media and everyone else. But as soon as it goes wrong, it's literally Mourinho versus the players. And then once that happens, it's game over.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that was the problem with Mourinho. I feel like the reason why Mourinho fitted was the whole like most hated vibes, we're better than everyone else. And I feel like at one point that was perfect for United. United were the best team in the country and everyone hated them. The media loves to slate United. No matter what's going on at United, the media's talking about it. So I feel like that does work with Mourinho. But the way that squad was when Mourinho came in, it just wasn't the right time for Mourinho. I think Mourinho would have been perfect when United were a good team. Let's say Fergie like retired maybe 3-4 years earlier. And Mourinho would have been perfect for that sort of squad. But the squad that we had, they don't need a Mourinho. They needed someone who, like Ollie, who's going to get around them, say everything's okay, and go on from there. I'm not Ollie out, but I'm definitely not Ollie in either. I don't think we're going to win anything with Ollie, unfortunately. But I do feel like Ollie has been good to transition to us winning stuff again. I feel like if you ask me, when Mourinho left, that's probably the worst that I've personally been as a United fan, like the lowest in terms of like morale and all that sort of stuff. And I do feel like Ollie has done a lot to help us have a good feeling around the club. I don't feel like there's always a good feeling around the club. I don't think there should be because we're not great. Do you get me? But
No,
I do feel like Ollie has done a lot for that. As I said before, I think we're going to start winning leagues and everything under Ollie? No. So I can't be Ollie in. But do I think he should get sacked tomorrow? Definitely not. I feel like that would be ridiculous.
No, 100%. I'm not Ollie out, but I'm not fully Ollie in. I'm just sort of Ollie needs to change something. That's Ollie.
Yeah.
Ollie change. Let's try and start that hashtag with hashtag Ollie change. No, let's not do that one. But no, I think that's a good place to stop before we go on to even more of a tangent. In terms of because let's suppose we could talk all day about Manchester United and how much they've not let us down, but they've pissed us off. No, second time. Oh Jesus! Second time swearing. How much they've annoyed us in these past few years. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So that is all for our football/soccer news. Next up, we're going to go into our NBA stories of March Madness's Sweet 16 and who will make it to the Elite Eight. And then we're going to go into another big discussion of there's been 81 injuries. There are 81 injuries right now in the NBA. I think at least a quarter of them are big stars. I'm talking like the starting stars that everyone will know, and what all the UK shops especially will have the names on the back of the jerseys, have on the backs, and that half of them are injured. So what's going on? And this is going to be a threatening thing towards the league itself. So this is Tara Brown and KB of Towel Talk. Stay tuned for more. So this year's March Madness has been nothing but a roller coaster. I mean, oh my days. We've seen 9 of the Big Ten crash out in the first round. We've seen, we've sort of seen COVID-19 taking effect because America's sort of not really, they're rolling out vaccines for it, but they're sort of just doing it. They're sort of doing what the UK did at the start of COVID. But except they just got the vaccine. They're sort of all over the place with it. And obviously the whole thing, with everything that's it's something that I need to talk about. Talk. We will never, I personally, I don't know what KB's been, but I will never talk about race or gender equality on this show just because there's so much stuff out there by professionals and, and all these people have all their opinions. Well, not professionals, but people have all their opinions. I will just never talk about it because there's enough being said already. I will obviously support and share stuff, but it's not the place. This is not the place to be talking about them sort of things because it only takes one thing to set someone off. You can never make anyone happy, and that's the last thing I want to do is make people not happy. Obviously, we talk about the we diss on the Chicago Bears and stuff like that, but that's sport. That's a bit different. That's but obviously we're talking about something serious matters. Something I don't really want to talk about on this show, and obviously I think KB agrees on the fact he's saying
I'll argue on the internet about a lot of things, but I'm not arguing about that.
I'll argue with the misses and the boys and stuff like that over certain things, but not on obviously not on personal things like YouTube and stuff like that. But anyway, so going back to what I was saying, this March Madness has been a wild one. Obviously the start of the season, I'm going to mention it real briefly about the difference in weight rooms between the men and the women's one, but that's all been sorted now. The NCAA have admitted they got it wrong and they updated it. That's how I'm going to say it now. So let's just get straight into, this March Madness season. Obviously, number one seed Gonzaga are obviously balling out as they were predicted to do. I feel like there's always that one team that you always expect to do well, and Gonzaga's doing exactly what they say on the tin. Number one seed, and they're acting like a number one seed team. Obviously they face completely forgot names now because of the thing in my head that I was talking about. Thinking about they face number 5 seed Creighton, and obviously they are the number 5 seed in the West this year. But obviously, I feel like because they've been so dominant this season, I don't think we're going to see any more upsets on this side of the bracket. So I'm going to go for Gonzaga win in terms of who's going to make it through to that next round. And then we go USC versus Oregon. USC are the number 6 seed, and Oregon are the number 7 seed. But I feel like Oregon, for the past few years that I've been watching March Madness, they always find a way to win. And I think that's in all sports. That's in football, basketball, and even baseball. I don't really watch college baseball because it's, I'm not really a big baseball fan as such, but I'll watch it. But college baseball is a bit too far of a stretch for me. But like I said, Oregon always find a way to win. So I'm going to go for Oregon to go through to this next round. KB, who have you got between Michigan and Florida State?
Okay, so my college basketball knowledge is at 0. So I'm just gonna pick off vibes and feelings. Okay, so who did you say? Michigan and Florida State?
Michigan and Florida State in the East.
Florida State. Michigan sounds miserable. So Florida State. We're going Florida State.
Florida State. Okay, I'm going to personally go for. I'm personally going for Michigan just because they are the number 1 seed in that sort of a league sort of thing. I think as an ex-Ohio State fan, I'm sort of always anti-Michigan. But when it comes to March Madness, I can't be. I just can't be. I think that's why I had to change my college team to University of Texas. 1, because I lived there for a little while, and obviously 2, because my logic for between Ohio and Michigan was flawed because of March Madness. And then UCLA versus Alabama. Who have you gone for in this matchup, KB? So obviously, Alabama are number 2 and UCLA are seed 11. But are you expecting a surprise?
I don't mess with Alabama in football, so I'm gonna keep the same energy. I'm going UCLA.
Yeah. So you going for Alabama or UCLA?
UCLA.
Are you going for UCLA? Okay, fair enough.
I'm just keeping the same energy because when it comes to football, we don't mess with Bama. So I'm just gonna keep the same energy.
Fair enough. No, fair enough. So obviously we're going to whack onto the other side of the bracket. So we have got Baylor at number 1 versus Villanova at number 5. I've gone for Baylor just because, I think there's only one upset I can see happening, and that's going to be over in the Midwestern when we talk about it in a second. But I feel like number 1 Baylor, they're going to do some. They've been a strong team this year. I think they'll continue over Villanova. And then who have you got for Arkansas at number 3 versus number 15 seeded Oral Roberts?
Oral Roberts sounds terrible, so I'm going Arkansas.
I honestly I think them, Villanova, and Creighton just sounds like it's not them typical.
They sound like
schools.
law firms. That's what they sound like.
Or them like them
solicitors.
Really, prep school sort of. I feel like if it was in the UK, they'd be that team that that take obviously university sports really seriously, and they wear like shirt and tie. I think Lancaster. I'm not dissing Lancaster University anyway, but like I think like obviously they wear shirt and tie to all their games stuff like, and it's like, oh, okay, it's different, it's you're not exactly professionals yet, but I don't know.
Fair play, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you want to look dapper on the day that's calm, but I prefer to, just say it's swaggy in my comfort clothes and stuff like that. But oh well. And the next up, we're gonna go against. Well, not go against. We're gonna look at Loyola, Illinois. That's another weird name as well. Versus Oregon State. Oregon State, obviously, give us quite a big surprise when they beat Oklahoma State in the last game, 80-70. And that's who I'm going to go for. Like I said, that's the only team I can see creating an upset. Obviously, Loyola. Oh my God, what's it? Loyola, Illinois.
No.
Illinois. Let's call them that. Illinois. Obviously, they are the number 8 seed, but Oregon State has given us such a good running so far. And like the FA Cup dream sort of thing, I'm going to keep them going on for this. And then the last game in this Sweet 16, we've got Syracuse versus University of Houston. I come for Houston. They're obviously one of the top teams in who continue every single March Madness. But who have you got between Syracuse and Houston?
I'm going to go with Syracuse because that's where Melo went. And I'm pretty sure Melo won it. So Syracuse is. That's Carmelo, by the way, not LaMelo. But yeah. So Carmelo Anthony.
No worries. Right, okay, and that's what we're going to touch on. There's not like I said, me KB, me and KB don't have a lot of knowledge in terms of college basketball. Fair enough. I have a little bit because I enjoy watching March Madness, because it's just a crazy. It's a crazy month of college basketball, and you sort of get to see some of the future stars in college basketball. That's all we got time for on that. Next up, we're going to go into our big debate for our last story. Like I said before, 81 injuries are currently affecting the NFL, which could threaten the league if these injuries consist into career-ending injuries. So let's go talk about that next. This is Tyler Brown and KB of Tyler Talk. Stay tuned for more. So as I said before, KB, there's something going down. There's something in the water in the NBA right now, and it's not coronavirus, surprisingly. I'll let you take the lead on this story. I don't think I've ever given you the opportunity to lead a story before, so you know a lot more about me in NBA terms. So I'll let you take the lead on this one because this was your story that you brought forward.
So yeah, I think the first thing what made me think of it was I think LeBron got hurt on early in the week. It was like a Tuesday or Wednesday. Mm-hmm. And then on the Friday, LaMelo got injured. And then it got announced that LaMelo was going to be out for the rest of the season. So I was just thinking, there's a lot of injuries in the NBA right now. I think Steph Curry's injured, Joel Embiid is injured, LaMelo's injured, LeBron's injured, KD's injured, Kyrie is here and there. I guess that's nothing new though. There was one more. Who was it?
Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, that was it. Anthony Davis. So it's just, I was thinking, and then a lot of people were saying, oh, if LeBron's injured, I'm not watching. Or if LaMelo's injured, I'm not watching. Do you get me? So I was thinking, does the NBA have a problem? Because I'm pretty sure every player I just mentioned, other than Joel Embiid and Giannis, are around the same age, around early 30s to mid 30s, and so they're all going to be retiring at a similar time. So I was thinking, is the NBA in trouble when all of these players go? Because I know we say we've got big stars, like future stars in the NBA, but I don't feel like there's any that can be the guy of the NBA. I think you've got your Giannis's and your Joel Embiid's. I don't think they're guys that can be the face of the NBA. And I do feel like the NBA does have a bit of a problem in terms of that. And I think social media has a lot to do with that, like TikTok and Twitter stars and all that sort of stuff. I just don't see a natural progression of who's next And I feel like the NBA is going to have a very big problem because a lot of the viewers now, it's almost we watch it because of what has happened. So we watch it because we watched Kobe and we watched LeBron and we watched Steph. But in 5-10 years, I don't think anyone's going to be like, yeah, I watched the NBA because of Joel Embiid. So I feel like there could be a big problem for the NBA in the next couple of years if they don't. I have no idea how they solve it. I guess it's similar to what you were saying before about the turnaround in teams. You can't really predict who's going to come through. But I do feel like the NBA is going to have a big problem in terms of identifying and pushing them stars to the public, so the public actually buys the product. I just don't feel like there's anything there. There's stuff there now, but I don't feel like in the next few years there's going to be anything there for people to really get excited about. Like if you tell me personally that your best selling point is Giannis and Joel Embiid, I'm out. If I'm going to be honest.
See that I was like I said, you brought the story to me because that this is a potential problem. I think I'm going to mainly speak from a UK perspective because obviously because I'm British and in America I don't think it might have a little bit of a drop off because it's like you said about the stars and stuff like that. But I think NBA is always going to be a big thing in America. But the big thing now about American sports is that they that when they go international, they need stars. Like so, I think I did an interview. I did like a joint podcast sort of thing with Nick, with my friend Nick over at Nick's Fair Media. It should be coming out very soon. We'll talk about NFL players and about how about how stars resonate towards their fans in the UK. And then when you bring it to a basketball sort of sense, you think of it as, and obviously you said like if so, let's say for example all the big players apart from Giannis and LaMelo and like the players who are younger, say all the older stars leave. Like you said, there's no face of the NBA because if you think of basketball in this country, it's popular because there's always the GOAT-esque player, Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. There's no one really there yet because I don't even know what it is, because it's sort of comparable in a way to Tom Brady, in a way, because he is, he's greatest player of all time, or people will contest it for some reason, but whatever. You got a great player like LeBron and Tom Brady, and obviously Patrick Mahomes is coming up into the ranks because he's so because of the way he plays, and Lamar Jackson is obviously that player, but like you said, there's no one really who screams to me GOAT material after LeBron.
Yeah.
And I feel like like you say, Kyrie Irving, who I learned the other day, he's actually not that. He looks older than he is.
Yeah, he's still 20s. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure late
yeah. So
20s.
yeah, because obviously we're looking at it. I was talking about the big. What was talking about the big four at the Brooklyn Nets the other day, and I looked at like who got drafted and whatnot, and Kyrie's one of the youngest ones there, and I was like, what? Like, because he looks so much older and stuff like that. It's really weird, and it seems like he's been there forever. Well, because he has really, but going back to the thing, it's like I feel like I said, like because there's no one to follow on from LeBron if he does retire in the next few years, that will be I think it will be a serious problem for the NBA. So obviously I follow so many American sports accounts and media and stuff like that, and basketball is obviously on my radar for obvious reasons because I do enjoy the sport. A lot of people do say Zion Williamson is like the next face of the NBA, but I feel like because I don't know how to describe it. I feel like because the NBA has taken such a roller coaster ride in these past few years, it's been up and down, up and down, up and down over like well, not even the past few years, like I think since Michael Jordan retired onwards, really, it's taken such a roller coaster ride. This is going to be now the dip that's going to happen, and we're now going to have to wait until the next, because you think about the main thing I always think about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kobe is that they all left in more or less in high school, didn't they? To
Yeah.
go straight to the NBA.
Yeah. LeBron and Kobe did, yeah.
Yeah. No, Michael Jordan didn't. Michael Jordan went to.
He went North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah, and he went, and then obviously, yeah. So when you think about them playing, like LeBron and Kobe came straight out of high school, sort of thing, and made a splash. Michael Jordan was, a great player in college, and he was. Like, I think we've all seen The Last Dance. He did what he did. He did Michael Jordan things at
Yeah,
that
that's
North
all you
Carolina.
need to say.
Yeah, he did what he did. But now, like, there's no one really with that sort of story. Like, there's no one that.
I feel like.
Go on.
I do feel like the way that everything is run now doesn't allow for that sort of story. I feel like when it comes to the next star, I think the only hope the NBA has is something like a Tom Brady, where he's not going to be recruited highly out of high school. He's probably going to do all his years at college, and he's going to come into the NBA, work his ass off, and then blow up. Because now, if you're 16 years old in America in high school and you're one of the best players, everyone knows who you are. There's no, and it's not the same as with LeBron, because LeBron was the only one who everyone knew who he was. Do you get me? Even Kobe Bryant, people knew who Kobe Bryant was, but he wasn't on the cover of magazines and stuff like that. Now, if you're 16 years old in America and you're one of the top players in the country, you've probably got, I think his name's Mikey. I can't remember if it's Mikey Williams, but for everyone listening, just type in Mikey high school basketball. He's got about 2 million followers on Instagram. There's rumors about Nike signing him. So
Yeah,
I don't
I
think.
know you mean. No, I do know. I know
Yeah.
you mean. No, it took me a while to.
The way that it works now, it doesn't allow for that sort of story for the player to go and work hard and have a little bit of buzz, go to college, and then come to the NBA. Right now, he's the next big thing. You have to be the next big thing. You're selling out arenas for people to come and watch you. Whereas most 16-year-olds now, they're not even going to play in the NBA. And the ones that do, you can't put that sort of expectation on them from that early, because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to fulfill it. The likes of, how many times have we heard the new LeBron James, and then you barely even see him in the NBA? It's because the pressure just kills them. By the time before they've even got to the NBA, there's pressure on them. So I don't think it allows to them. And unless you're that special guy like a LeBron, it's not going to work out. So I do feel like it could be like bleak times for the NBA, because when it comes to all these child stars, they're not allowed to progress. They're meant to be the greatest thing from day one. So then by the time they do get to the NBA, they're either burnt out or there's too much hype, and it just doesn't allow for them, unless that player is the special guy, where 9 times out of 10, when the media says that he's the one, they're not the one. They've just got a bit of buzz about them. So I don't know how the NBA tackles it. Like I said, I think it is just a case of, you've just kind of got to get lucky in it. Like, that Tom Brady figure's got to just kind of pop up out of nowhere and take everything over, because everyone that they're hyping up right now ain't even touching LeBron's shoes. Defo Jordan or Kobe, they're not getting anywhere close. So I think it's a all we can do is wait and see. But I'm not like holding my breath, because my hopes aren't that high.
100%. Like I was about to go into the fact that, like, are we having to go down the route of waiting for a late, a late drafted player to then suddenly become this great, Tom Brady-esque sort of player, where he comes in, he does his time on the bench, and then when it's his time to play, that's when he starts the ball out. But like I said, with the NFL, it's sort in like again, I'm speaking from UK terms, because I feel like that's the area where they'll sort of lose the sport, because like I said, in America, it's such a big sport because of March Madness and whatnot. But when you obviously said about 16-year-olds and and all that lot, I feel like because basketball in America, it has so many tournaments like March Madness, and they make a big deal out of things like that. So therefore, like you said, the stars are already getting picked out, and they're getting signed by Nike and Under Armour and all that lot, and stuff like that. It's just like you said, like they sort of blow the candle out before they've even had a chance to start it. it is a difficult thing that the NBA have got to sort of look into, because I feel like I said, because it's going to be a major problem. Like, say for example, next season, all these great players, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, Kyrie, no, well, not Kyrie, James Harden and Blake Griffin and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. See all these players get that injured, and they have to leave over the next few years. There's no one, like I said, there's no one to pick up the mantle, because like I said, Zion Williamson had a bit of hype behind him because he was just a big dude. He's a big dude.
He was one of the guys. That's a prime example. People have been talking about Zion Williamson since he was about 15 years old.
Yeah.
And then he's got to the NBA now, and it's like, okay, put on the maddest show.
He can play.
And now that he's not doing it, everyone's kind of looking at him like, oh, you're nothing. Whereas it's his first year in the like, he's not meant to be doing all of that stuff. So he's killing him before he's even got the chance.
Yeah, it's a difficult sport, basketball, as well. I feel like because it's so different to other American sports. You think of baseball and American football, it's a stop and start sport. Whereas basketball is a continuous sport. It's continuous with it's got the same elements of American football with the 4 quarters, and it's just, and obviously you get all these different ways to score points and stuff like that. It's like, it's I don't know. I know where I'm going with this, but at the same time, I don't. It's because, let me get my words composed here. I thought because the NBA has made it, I think it's done it to himself. The league has been so structured to the existing stars. They've not really cared about the future stars, because they've allowed businesses like Nike and stuff like that to sign them on and build the hype for them. Whereas if when you think about the NBA draft, it's not as big as the NFL draft, really, is it? It's like, because, like I said, because the fact that they burn out, because of all these tournaments that go on. I think in high school basketball, there's 2 major tournaments for high school basketball alone. And then when you get to college, March Madness is that tournament. Whereas look at college American football, you don't have the big, you have the national championship. You have all the bowl, like the Rose Bowl and stuff like that. But like that's just part of the structure to win the trophy. It's like football in the UK. It's like, you have the Premier League, you have the Championship, you have the League One, League Two, but then you have the FA Cup and the League Cup, which are opportunities for the littler teams to build themselves up a bit of credit and have a go against the big dogs. And that's what March Madness and stuff like this. But I don't know. I feel like I don't even know where I'm going with this, to be fair, because it's just, I feel like I'm going around circles. But the NBA are sort of leaving themselves exposed.
I agree. I agree. I think a lot of it is because, obviously, I don't know the history of the NBA, but I know for a fact I don't think the 70s, in the 80s, you had like your Larry Bird and your Magic Johnsons. So I think there was a period of time just before the 80s where it was like the NBA is in serious trouble, like financially, viewership, all of that sort of stuff. And then stars like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson came around. So they built the league around them. So that's why you know about that's not why you know about the Lakers and the Boston Celtics now, but that's why a lot of people do. That's what built up that rivalry, and that's what built up the NBA, those stars going at it. So then next was the Michael Jordan era. So the NBA, let's push Michael Jordan. Let's fly Michael Jordan to China. Let's fly him to France. Like, do you get me? It's all built around the star. Next up, you had Kobe Bryant, and it all overlapped as well. So Jordan played while Bird and Magic were playing. Then he took over. Then Kobe came, played while Jordan was playing. Then he took over. Then LeBron came. LeBron played while Kobe was playing. Then LeBron took over. Now, because there's not a next guy, that system that the NBA has been using, to me, it's looking like you're going to have to come up with a new plan, because there is no next guy. So there's no star for you to build everything around. So they're going to need some sort of new plan to get people watching the NBA, to get people invested, because that plan that you've been using all this time, I'm not saying it's a bad plan, it's a great plan. If you've got Michael Jordan, push Michael Jordan. If you've got Kobe, push Kobe. I'm just saying now, you've not got that guy. So they need to get some thinking done in the NBA boardrooms and what's next, because the plan that they've been using so far, I don't think it's going to work. I just don't think if you try to put Giannis or Joel Embiid or even a Kyrie Irving, they're just not that guy like that. So I just feel like they do need a new like what's the word?
They need a new cover star. That's what it is.
They just need, or even because I don't think that cover star exists. They just need a new like way of getting people interested, because I think like it's probably worse for you to try push a cover star that no one likes or no one's interested in. That's probably even worse.
No, I mean cover star is in like they need the man at the front. They need the LeBron and Joe. I mean like cover star was like they need the person who is like the big don. I feel like one of the things that the NBA isn't doing that every other American sport is doing, they're not doing much international recruitment. And I know you're going to say there is, people are going to say there's a lot of international recruitment in terms of, you got players that are coming from Europe and all that lot. But then but
the main I wouldn't say that has anything to do with the NBA particularly, if I'm honest.
Would you not?
No, I think because, so you know how the NFL has the whole NFL Academy thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the NBA just looks at it as they've got professional leagues over there. Just go play over there. We don't really care. As soon as you're ready, come over here. Do you get me? Like they're not really invested in it as much. So like the players like Luka Doncic, everyone in Spain knew who Luka Doncic was before the NBA. I wouldn't say the NBA really helped him get to where he was getting. It was just a case of they've got professional leagues over there. So you develop them over there, and then when they're ready, we'll come and pinch them. I feel like that is something that they could work on, because if you could, they probably can't start an academy, because if you can play professional in Spain, you're going to go play professional in Spain. But I do feel like the NBA does need to do a bit more, like you were saying, in terms of that, like overseas, because I feel like they just leave it to those leagues and then just pinch them when they're ready. I feel like they could probably do a bit more to get involved. I think they have the one or two games a year in London, and that's about it, really. They don't really do anything else.
That's where I was going to. I was going on to like they just need to look. They need to work with these other leagues around the world in order to, to do things like you said, like when you think of the NFL in the UK, like they only come around for once a year and stuff like that. But when you think of I always remember this every single year. The Jacksonville Jaguars always have a pick from London. It may be something. And you probably think it's so small or something, but that's something that links to that links to the NFL, to the UK. And then obviously you have, like I said, the NFL Academy, which is I think there's players that I've watched from under 17s when I played for Manchester Titans, for people who don't know, in British American football. So I remember when I was an under 19s player, I was looking at these under 16, 17-year-olds, like Tyler Harvey Fellows and Tom Jones, who, if you need to Google them, Tyler Harvey Fellows is now going over to America to play he's going to Canada, sorry. He's going to play in, no, it's not. No, I'm talking about, I've got so many players in my head because there's been a lot of news in terms of who's committing where. But, someone like Tyler Harvey Fellows is going to play in America just from playing 1 year in NFL Academy. And then once he's over there, he will then be British star Tyler Harvey Fellows.
It's already been built up,
Yeah, and it's a big thing that's happening. But when as the NBA, they don't have, like I said, they just wait for the Spanish level, the Spanish level, the French level, something to all the I think there's quite a few Polish players in the NBA at the moment as well. I think it is, or around Middle Eastern European, Eastern European players that are in the league, and I think they just wait for him to get to a certain level and go, oh yeah, come over now, you can come over, it's fine, yeah, no worries.
I don't know, because I don't play basketball like that, so I'm not in the rooms to know whether the NBA are involved. But from what I've seen, there's no NBA involvement overseas in terms of developing players.
I wouldn't say there is, because sort of otherwise we'd hear about it. I mean, like obviously, even though I think I could probably go up to, say like NFL weekend, say it comes on this year. We should go down to London and say what do you know about the relationship between British American football and the NFL? And I guarantee they'll mention. Someone mentioned the NFL Academy. Someone mentioned the fact that Jacksonville Jaguars are such a big thing. FAO Bada, blah blah, and Christian Wade will be mentioned largely in that.
Yeah.
Then if to say we go to NBA in London, we then go, oh, what's the relationship between British basketball and the NBA? They'd be like, oh, well, they come over here.
If that, yeah, they play a game and that's about it.
And that'll be it. That'll literally be it. They'll be like, oh, they'll probably say, oh, well, Sky Sports plays it, but it's
there's not much going on.
And then they come over every year to play a few games. That's it. Like, yeah. Like, and you think of it as such a contrast because, like we said, the NBA has been around for so many years, and I think you can't go out on the street without someone wearing a pair of Jordans on their feet because Michael Jordan obviously created the no, he didn't make the NBA, but
you could make the argument at one point.
Yeah, like
without Michael Jordan, the NBA would be a lot different.
Yeah, if it would even be a thing. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that. What I was about to say. Like, without Michael Jordan, there wouldn't be an NBA presence. That's what I'm going to say. There wouldn't be an NBA presence so globally known because, like I said, like me and you wear Jordans on our feet, and other people wear Jordans on their feet. That's like you can't go out on the street and not mention Michael Jordan, and they know who he is. But when let's say when everyone's retired in a few years, you go, other than LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, name one NBA player. I guarantee we'll probably get sounds quite like
exactly.
And the people that we do get to say a name, that'll probably because they probably have a jersey like stuffed away like somewhere.
And that's the problem because the way that marketing works, the NBA is not trying to get me to watch basketball because I already watch it. Do you get me? Yeah. They're trying to get everyone else who doesn't watch it or who might watch American football, and when the basketball comes on, they turn it off. That's who they're trying to target. So if you have nothing to sell to these people other than literally the game of basketball, they're not going to be interested.
Yeah,
because that's what sports is. It's a narrative. It's the show. It's everything over. It's everything else, isn't it? If you can't, if you don't have anything else to sell, you've got a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think because my pain now, because people don't know, like me and KB, we used to work together as waiters in Manchester City in the hospitality section, and whenever you used to mention I played American football, KB was one of them people, self-admitted, who was a bit like, oh, American football, it's it's so complicated and da da da.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and then he comes to Ucla, University of Central Lancashire with me, and he starts playing, loved it, and whatnot. But then it's like, I've got where I was going with this now. I got off on a tangent on Man City work days and stuff like that. So I was going on about saying like, because the people say the NBA, like the NFL, is such a confusing sport, but like people just, I think because the British sport is rugby, people are sort of negligent towards it. Between basketball, there's no excuse for people not to try basketball because there's nothing you can compare it to. Like let's be honest, that's the reason why most people in the UK might not like NFL because we're British and rugby is our sport and
it's the whole like it's padded up and
it's padded up
and it's all that sort of stuff.
It's not a man's sport. You're in a padding. It's like, well, and rugby players will obviously say, oh yeah, well, have you seen that video of the NFL players trying to do playing against rugby players, and they said like they don't want to play against rugby players. Well, yeah, of course, because it's it gets they're obviously different sports and stuff like that. But when you come to NBA, there's nothing to compare it to in the UK, and the UK will just be like, I tried watching it, I like the slam dunks, I like the very rare half court thing, but I don't watch other than that. Like they could watch the game and they'll just be watching it because there's so many fouls and because you can't touch anyone in that sort of way, like can't touch someone. Like,
if you ask me, when it comes to entertainment,
it's
I
not.
think I've watched a NFL game start to finish and kind of thought, I think you can. I guess you can do this with any sport, but I've watched the NFL game start to finish and thought nothing happened to make me get out of my seat. Like, obviously, stuff happened to get out of your seat, but nothing to make me go, whoa, like that was crazy. Do you get me? Unless you know what's going on, then you'll probably think. But just sitting as a outsider, there's more you need to know about American football to get excited than you do basketball. Do you get me?
No,
like,
it is.
like you can just watch basketball and know nothing about basketball and go, oh, he's good. That was sick. Do you get me? Whereas if you watch American football,
he slam dunked at him and he fell on the floor. Ha ha ha! Like, yeah.
Whereas with American football, you kind of need to know what's going on. You kind of need to go. You need to know, oh, that's his job. So when he blocked him, that was sick. When he did that little double route, that was cool. I think so. When it comes to basketball, it's easier to sell it, but like I said, it's the people that aren't watching that you need to sell to, not the people that are watching. And for the people that aren't watching, you do need something else other than just the sport to sell to the people. Because no one's going to watch it just because it's basketball. They're going to watch it because LeBron's playing, or they're going to watch it because this happens, or because that happens. They're not going to watch it just because it's basketball. And that's the problem that the NBA's got.
No, it is. So obviously going back to the whole injury thing, that was obviously the main thing last time. Let's just I've just found the 81 players that are listed. I'm not going to name all of them because we'll be here for ages. But I was going to name a couple of stars from each team and stuff like that, and then we'll probably discuss a little bit longer, then we'll probably end there. But then we look at Atlanta Hawks. Rajon Rondo is out due to his right abductor being sore. His status is day to day, but it's still an injury nevertheless. The Boston Celtics are missing Tristan Thompson due to due to COVID-19. So COVID-19 is taking a bit of an effect towards it. But then we get to the Brooklyn Nets. James Harden hurt his neck. Kyrie Irving, was it personal matters? But people said it's because it's his birthday tomorrow or today. So
Kyrie's missed a lot of games through personal matters throughout his career. I think it's just one of them. It's just expected at this point. No one really knows what it's for or why, but
I mean, like I watched a video yesterday and his self, like the way he talks about how he's grown as a person, stuff like he's a very deep guy. Like,
he's very deep. I think he's got a lot of stick just simply because he does things and he doesn't explain it, so he gets stick. But then every time he explains it, everyone's like, oh, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So
honestly, like I'll see if I can find the video, and I'll if someone wants me to show him the video, I'll send it to him. But it's a deep cut. Like he's talking about like his self progression and his energy as a man and current events, and he's proper, like you can tell he's proper into like his chakra.
Yeah, he's like spirituality and all that sort of stuff. He's proper into it. Yeah,
chakra quite a few times in it, and like it's I'm not a religious spiritual guy, but even I was like, oh damn, like it got me going a bit there, like but then let's just go back into the injury report. So obviously Kyrie Irving's due to personal matters. Kevin Durant, he's been out for forever, for it seems. I don't think can't remember the last time I've seen him in.
I'm hoping that they're just being careful with him. I'm hoping that's what it is, because obviously you've got Kyrie and you've got James Harden, so Kevin Durant doesn't need to play every game. So I'm hoping it's not as serious, because if you've been out for nearly 2 months because of your hamstring, then your hamstring's battered. So I'm hoping they're just being careful with him, just easing him back into it.
Yeah, it does say here that his injured hamstring is expected to remain out for another 1 to 2 weeks as the Nets exercise with caution of his recovery. So that does show that they are looking after him. And then we'll go on to Charlotte. LaMelo Ball, like you said, he fractured his right wrist and had surgery, and it'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Sorry guys, I'm not bored, trust me. We'll go to Cleveland. Kevin Love, he injured his car, so he'll be out for maybe a week or two. Then we go to Dallas. No one really in Dallas that people mainly know. Denver, not really. Detroit, not really. Golden State, Steph Curry's out due to his tailbone. He had an MRI which showed inflation on his tailbone, so he'll be out for a while. Klay Thompson, again, he's like Kevin Durant. He's not really been here.
Yeah, I don't think he's expected to play this season, to be honest. I
No.
feel so sorry for him, man. I
Yeah,
think he tore his ACL 2 years ago. He had the whole last season off, coming back, and then he tear his Achilles in like a workout a week before the season. Like that's just pain, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 100%. And then we go to Houston Rockets. Victor Oladipo, he's out from. Doesn't say what's wrong with him. He's just said that he's out. Like it's
I think he's getting traded. You know, I think that's what it is. Actually, that's a good thing to keep an eye on because the trade deadline's today. Actually, I think it's just one of them. They're thinking of moving him, so they're just like, well, we're not going to play it.
Yeah, we're sat now. I've probably obviously I know you guys can't see, but I've been on my phone wherever my phone's disappeared to. I've been checking my phone because obviously on TYB Talks I only follow. I obviously follow myself. I follow KB. I follow other NBA, other sports, media online. So that's what I do. We've got some new news in NFL. We'll go through that later on though. But let's go back into this. So LA, LeBron James, Anthony Davis are out for a while. In Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr. is out with a knee injury. So just reading this, and it looks like he'll be out for the next month or two, which is going to be a hard hit for them. No, Miami Heat, nope. Milwaukee Bucks, no. Minnesota, D'Angelo Russell is out for a couple of weeks due to a knee injury. Lonzo Ball for the Pelicans, he's a day-to-day status. It shows he's injured his hip. Derrick Rose for the New York Knicks and Austin Rivers, both personal, so whatever's happening down there. George Hill for the Oklahoma City Thunder, injured his thumb, so yeah, he can't be basketball without a thumb really. Cole Anthony for Orlando, Joel Embiid. What's up with Joel Embiid? I don't actually know. Is it his ACL something that's torn?
I know it's something to do with his knee. I think it's something to do with his knee. I can't remember, but he's another one. He's injury prone. He gets hurt every year, so it is a shame because he was having a very good season. But
yeah,
It's not surprising that he's hurt. He came into the league hurt. He got drafted hurt. Yeah. So like, it's not surprising that he's getting hurt.
I'm trying to Google it now. So it says here that it just says knee injury, so not a clue.
Yeah.
That's all they're telling us. Yeah, that's really it in terms of the big names in the NBA. Yeah, like we said, it's oh my god, so sorry. So, yeah, and like we said, going back to the whole NBA thing, the NBA is looking to be in a bit of spot above it. And like KB said, they always do get in a bit of trouble when it comes to when it does come to the biggest stars leaving, and there's not really a transition between sort of passing on the torch, if you want to call it, between the old guys and the younger guys. There's not really been anything like that in the past few years, and we're not really. I don't think we're going to see it for a while. So the NBA's got to do something in order to to get new viewers and keep the old ones from watching, from switching over to something else. So that'll be something to look out for. Right, yeah, so that is all for what we've got today. So I'm going to go over some of the things that have happened since we've been recording on this Thursday evening. So, NFL news, Malcolm Butler has signed for the Arizona Cardinals. Damn! So that's like not even gonna. That's just took out my whole Patrick Surtain nonsense.
I'm not a Cardinals fan, but Cardinals 2021.
Jeez,
trust me.
I'm going to stick with my picks, but Arizona is not the what's up with a dark horse. Like they're the team to watch. They are the team to watch. I'm going to put them as that. Like because like I said, like the Patrick Peterson. We're literally talking about the Patrick Peterson thing, saying that they need a decent cornerback, and they've gone and got Malcolm Butler straight out of the bat. Let's have a look at NBA news if there's any to follow. No, nothing really. No, nothing's happened.
Yeah, I think there's been a few trades, but there's not been any like blockbuster trades from what I've seen.
So let's have a look on because ESPN's quite good on it. What's this? Oh, we got Norman Powell from the Blazers is heading to Portland. No, sorry. Yeah, no, yeah, sorry, yeah. So Norman Powell is heading to Portland from so I don't because they changed his kit on ESPN because the internet doesn't rest. Yeah, so Norman Powell is going to Portland. The Bulls land Nikola Vucevic and
I think
Aminu.
that was the biggest deal I've seen. I mean, no offense to the Bulls, but the Bulls aren't going anywhere.
No.
I mean, this is them trying to make things happen, but I don't think the Bulls are going. They might be able to make the playoffs because they're in the East, and the Eastern Conference isn't very good.
No, it's not.
But
no, it's
even if they do make it, they're not getting out the first round.
Aaron Gordon is heading to Denver apparently, but it's not official. The Celtics are finalizing the deal to acquire Evan Fournier from the Magic.
It's a bit of a slow trade deadline day this year.
Yeah, I think you know what it is. I think because the NFL free agency was so big, I'm sort of expecting everything to be big. I'm expecting I'm expecting NBA thing to be big. I'm expecting Premier League transfers to be huge this year. I'm expecting a lot of things. I'm expecting too much from sports nowadays. I think COVID. COVID. Let's just speak briefly on COVID and how it's impacted sports a little bit. Let's just very, very briefly. Actually, you know what? That's gonna be a big topic for next week. Let's talk about COVID, how it's impacted sports, because we're gonna go on forever about that as well. That's gonna be one of our stories next week. There you go, inside the scoop for next week's show. So, like we said, guys, that is all we have got time for today. The show is running on a lot longer just because me and KB have a lot to say because that's the sort of guys we are. So, before we let you go, we need you to do a couple of things. We need you to like, subscribe, hit the bell. That is right. Hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for future videos. And like next week's show when we talk about COVID impacting sports. And then we're going to Instagram tonight because we all know you will be. Don't lie to us. You need to type in TYB_talk. That is right, TYB_talk. And also, whilst you're on there, give us a follow. Mine is TYBMCR UK. And KB's is 17BXTR. So, without further ado, let's end the show right there. My name is Tara Brown. KB has been on the show with me once again. Thank you for coming on, KB.
No problem at all. Pleasure to be here.
No worries. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to share this all around. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thank you very much.
Peace.